Hold on, let me All righty. So, well, we've known, and let me just say who me and Diana, my wife and I, we've been married 33 years, right? And got married 2/22/92 at 2 o'clock. So,
Easy to remember.
yeah, we have 5 grown children. They're about 33 down to 23, 4 married. They're all out the door, 10 grandbabies. So,
8 granddaughters and
8
two
granddaughters, 2
grandsons.
grandsons. And
Congratulations.
and we're excited. Most of our children are on the patch, and even one of our granddaughters who was on the scale of 3, level 3 autism, got her on the patch. So we're talking about her results. It's been pretty amazing. But then Mike and Leanne, we know through Grace Family Church, and just fun, great people, and I like Mike because they're a fit family, like you're all in fitness, so I like that. And but he's got a great attitude, he's got a great testimony, and it's just amazing to see how far God's brought them, and now they're boys. And I think one of our daughters would babysit, your 2 sons back in the day, and so time is flying. And so we still get to see Mike and Leanne down at Grace Family Church, and which is a blessing.
And all our kids went to Grace Family Church too, as well. And we started going there in 2000. And actually, before that, we were part of Debbie and Craig's youth group when they were youth ministers.
In the late 80s.
In the late 80s, when we were going to
Going to
USF. I was.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah. So I was the intercessory prayer leader for Craig when he had his Tuesday night Bible study. To be 300 college age and career kids on a Tuesday night. That was so not normal.
Right.
Then they'd be playing Christian rock music. Back then it was of the devil, the back of the so Craig was always on, it was awesome to see his relevancy and to know. And when Dara and I mean, we know it's based on when she was born practically,
Right,
so it's just crazy. So
Yeah.
we've known Craig a long time. Craig and I still connect a couple times a month, went to lunch, last month. And so,
So great ministry.
Yeah.
Doing great things.
But Leanne and Mike are awesome, so it's so great. And I've been dripping on Mike about this patch for about 4 months, and we kept not connecting. And then finally we made a connection, and then shared, what the hope of this thing offers and what we've seen in the last 2.5 years. And so he got Leanne on a call with me, and then Leanne did her research and then came back around. And so now I guess, Leanne, you've just got on the patch, what, about a week ago? You've been wearing it? Not even?
Not even a week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Karsten is too.
Yeah. So, so it's been amazing, but I'll share the rest of the journey here in a second. I'll let Leanne make any further introductions, and we'll continue to move forward from there.
Introductions. We're all introducing ourselves. Is that what you said?
Well, just any further. I see Jen.
Yeah, I think you met. Megan is kind of a similar story with Beth. Like, I was friends with Robin, got connected with Megan through Robin through the Faster Way, and then we just actually just kind of met in person recently in Columbus. We had a lovely lunch. We could have been there. We were there for hours and could have been there for many more, I think.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I also have grown boys and 7 grandchildren, and so I exist in that space too. But I taught group fitness for about 25 plus years, and so have a similar background to Leanne. Was a runner, did a handful of marathons and those kinds of things. And when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes like hips that are bone on bone and knees that are talking to you, and a neck and a back I've jacked up, and with box squats and things like that. And so interested to hear about the technology, because we were strung together with duct tape and a little bit of string. My husband played football at a high level, and so he's got 3 types of stenosis in his spine. And again, so we just you live with pain, but if you don't have to, that would be a real blessing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, Mark. I said Mark because I see your husband's name on the screen. Sorry about that, Megan.
Yeah, no worries. Worries. I know, I'm in his lair here.
Yeah, that's right. He's in his cave.
I am.
Awesome. And then Jen, do we know Jen from church? No.
I do
Yeah.
go to Grace Family.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Look,
Oh, you
Yes.
are on, Jen. I didn't even notice that. Oh, good. I can just make my window bigger. You're here.
I
Yay.
wasn't sure if I was doing it right. It's been a while since I did Zoom and I'm on my phone. So anyway, I think it's all, if you can
Yeah.
hear me, then it's good.
perfect.
So yeah, I met Leanne at Grace, and actually our boys are friends. So we have 4 children. And actually, when you were just sharing, I'm sorry I'm late. We have friends over, so I'm apologize for that. But anyway, my 14-year-old son has 3 of the 4 kids do have like ADHD. Were diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, although my oldest has really grown out of it. He really functions well, is doing well at school. Um, Same with my daughter's kind of on that path, but our 14-year-old son, he still struggles. He goes to a special school, Tampa Day school, and has just severe dyslexia, dysgraphia, and has now like developed overeating as a way to cope with kind of that anxiety of that, and
Hmm.
it's just hard on him. And so I thought, and we tried brain balancing, and initially with doctors, we tried just pharmaceuticals. That's what they put you on. And then I'm like, well, this is pharmaceutical meth. This is a
Yeah.
controlled substance. Like, I don't want my child to be on this. I want them to function. Like, what's going on? What's behind this? And so we just tried different homeopathic things and all of that. And I don't know, so I'm interested to find out for that. And then on a personal level, and even for my husband, as we're aging, in our mid to late 40s, it's things, old injuries are haunting us.
You're
And
60.
yeah, I know. And so, like over the summer, I thought I tore a meniscus. I did a tiny bit, but more what they found was osteoarthritis in the knees. And it's been quite a journey this last 9 months of PRP and physical therapy, and they're still hurting. And I'm like, I'm too young. What's happening? So, and same with my husband, he's got a torn labrum, and there's just, and at our ages, you don't get replacements. Cortisone is only a band-aid and causes more long-term damage. So, we're looking at PRP or whatever, saunas, cold plunge, which I don't know. Not there yet. But different, I want to start with that first. I don't want to put synthetic things into our bodies yet.
Yeah.
Well, you're at the right place, right?
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
That's
And
good.
as you're talking, my mind in the last 2.5 years is just clicking on everything you guys are saying. So, okay, well, we've got an amazing solution for you.
Mhm.
But alrighty. So, and I guess Keisha probably busy right now.
Yeah,
may have
she said she's got family over, but she can listen in.
perfect.
So again, Keisha is my friend at work. We work
Yeah.
together. She's a trainer and coach, and she's phenomenal. She competes in like fitness competition. I think she's figure bikini fair, not bikini, but the figure competitions, and she's just like amazingly strong. So
Awesome. That can also be a lot of stress too. So
yeah.
That's all. So Leanne, when you say coach, what do you help us out? Because I don't know.
Yep. So I have clients all over, mostly United States, but Canada, Mexico, the world really, digital clients. So with our company, we help people with their fitness and nutrition, pairing it together, teaching intermittent fasting, whole food nutrition, carb cycling, macro tracking, water intake, and lots of mindset, and of course exercise. Pairing those all together, teaching them a way that's sustainable for their lifestyle, so it's not a fad diet and something that they just continue to build habit upon habit and to see life change.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been intermittent fasting for probably 6, 7 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, and so that's awesome, and that's so needed. Particularly living in America, it's so difficult, to get the proper stuff in your mouth, So, alrighty, well, thank you, everybody, for sharing with us a little more about you and your situations and things you're looking for in yourselves and your family. And one thing about the Lord is He's better than Santa Claus, right? And so He knows exactly what you're going through, and we pray that maybe what you see today will bring you some hope. And so I'm going to share a presentation with you that's shown worldwide. And so you'll quickly understand how this patch works, what it's done for us, what you may think how it could do for you. Also, we're going to share briefly, how much the patches are, and also how the company financially rewards those who share it. You don't have to share anything. You can just get the patches at a wholesale rate and just get them on you. Get the miracle on you, right? But we didn't see this coming. The Lord answered our prayers. We had an 18-man advertising company working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. My company was almost 2 hours away from where I'm at. I had a driver drive me down. And so I was busy. And if I wasn't selling, my team wasn't going to pay. And I went that way for 10 years. And there's a lot of stress. And we could have sold our company prior to COVID and probably retired. After COVID, things changed. And when our friend Joyce Johnson, who's a strong believer, retired IRS agent, a CPA, very conservative. She had been in a car wreck in 2019 twice, and she'd been rear-ended. They had put 4 titanium discs in her neck, and ever since then, she was not good. Throat swallowing issues, just pain issues, weird issues, just stuff. Housebound. Diana would take her place sometimes, and she called us one day, said, "Hey, did I tell you about the patch?" She talked to her. I said, "No, this patch cleared all my pain. My sister needed bone-on-bone knee surgery. I know Paulette, she's in her mid-late 60s, probably early 70s now, and got rid of her extreme migraines and the pain in her knees. And actually, to this day, 2.5 years later, she never needed the surgery. And pretty powerful. But back then, we didn't know that. We just know it cleared her pain. Says, "Hey, this sounds pretty amazing. What is it?" And she said, "It's this little sticker and it does this," and sent me a link on it. And I said, "This is absolutely fascinating." I can turn on, I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry, and no doctor ever told me that I have dormant stem cells, right, all throughout our body. And I could turn them back on with this sticker. And I said, and it's safe, it's patented, it doesn't matter what kind of medication somebody's on, they can wear a sticker for about $3 a day. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy the biggest batch of this stuff you can get, because I'm going to mail it to all my family and friends and tell them to stick it on them and tell them what happens. And that's what I did. I just called them and said, "Listen, I've got these stickers, completely safe. What is it? Just don't worry about it. Just put them on you, and just 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and give a report back what happens." Now, I wouldn't do that now. Okay. Now that we know what we know, I tell people, no, 90 days at a minimum, you want to get on this thing. And I'll explain that why in a minute. You don't have to, but and then also they mentioned, because I was praying, I've been praying, and Craig, our pastor, and I, we talk a couple of times a month just about our situation. And our friend mentioned this other couple we knew from 15 years earlier, because we've gotten this Montague juice business for like 6 months in and out, and that was it. But I still drink that juice to this day. And they had, in this kind of relational marketing business, they'd helped 160 people make $1 million on this business. Well, anyways, they came aboard this company. They had to come in 23 days at the highest rank in this business, and they're going to implement a system people could follow. And just the Lord talked to me in that moment, and I didn't say anything to Joyce. I didn't want to let anybody know where I was going. But I said, what's just the chance we might be able to get access? And so what happened was we started wearing the patch, started sharing the patch, and in this opportunity, it's kind of like a good movie. You can tell people about it, and then they go see the movie. But you continue to do your work, do your thing. We say it's God, family, work, and then this. And and I'll share more about our story there. But we began to see these miracles. Diana, 21 days, September 9th, it was a holiday, it was a Monday. And she basically, what do you want to share? Yeah.
Sure. So I was having hot flashes like 10 to 15 a day, and I was helping him out with the advertising company. So I was going down to Sarasota, driving, going to networking events and talking to other people. And I would get red in the face and start dripping down with these hot flashes. I could never drink hot coffee or soup or wine or anything spicy. It would flare up. And I told Ken, I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can work, at the company at this capacity, because it's just too embarrassing and to be in front of people, dealing with this hot flashes and all. And I was having them at night too as well. Well, when I got introduced to this patch, I started wearing it. And at first I just started realizing I was, things were clear to me. I was remembering facts and names better. I had more energy. But my friend had said to me, well, what are you really looking for? Because other people are getting their symptoms away, like, whether it was psoriasis or, the skin issue that my friend had, or, problems with their thyroid. They were seeing success, and I really wasn't seeing too much success in the beginning. I said, I'd love to have my hot flashes go away. And within days, about day 21, I woke up and I said to Ken, I don't think I had any hot flashes that night. And I only had a few during the day. And then as time went on, I had less and less. So it was like so amazing that way. I was like, this is incredible. But there was also something else that I was dealing with menopause, which was anxiety. And I didn't realize, I didn't understand why I had this fight or flight sensation all the time, during the day. And I guess it comes along with menopausal problems that people have. And I realized I wasn't having that anymore. So it was like those two big things like made me want to work out more. I felt like I had more, I wasn't as afraid anymore to try new things. I mean, we went on a vacation and I rode the banana boat ride, and I'm like, who is this person? Because normally I'd be the one taking the pictures and letting everybody else go on the ride, because I'd be afraid. I'd have this fear. So with the patch, I realized that I wasn't having the anxiety or the hot flashes. I felt much better. Plus, then I noticed my hair growing because it builds collagen. So my hair is like when I was in high school. Like, I haven't had this long hair since, and I've had 5 children, so you lose a lot of hair, and with the menopause and things like that. But my hair started growing. And then Ken had to remind me that I'm not complaining about my hips at night, because I would complain about my hips hurting, and I've taken different types of oils and things to help my hip pain go away. And I don't have that problem anymore too. So that kind of all happened after 3 weeks on the patch, and I would say within months after. So that's my testimony. And I'm like, wow, I would never want to ever get off of this thing, because who wants to ever feel that way, and I don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah, so when we thanks, honey.
Yeah.
When we so when we first started mailing these patches out, we were wearing them, but we really weren't feeling much yet.
Right.
And so I remember my daughter called, so she's in Louisiana, we're in Tampa, and she had given birth to Kendall May, I think 7 months earlier or so, and she had lost some of her hair. She had postpartum, just emotional issues, brain fog, just weird things. And like the first day, I think it was actually by the next day, she goes, Dad, you're not going to believe it. I said, what's up, Brandon? He says, I just cleaned all the drawers out in the girls' room. I've been dreading that. I cleaned the closet out. My brain fog is gone, and I've got energy. I said, wow, it's amazing. We've been wearing it for about a week. We don't feel anything yet within reason. You know what I'm saying? So, and then her husband, Stephen, he's in the Coast Guard. He's a total go-getter. And he called me at 9 o'clock and I said, hey, Mr. Burke, I taught all 8 hours at the Coast Guard. It was his first day on the patch. And he goes, I was focused. Usually I'm not focused. Right? And then I mowed 4 yards afterwards. He has a big riding mower, he's side hustle. And I didn't have my back pain, my neck pain, my hip pain. And I said, really? He said, yeah. And then I sat with the girls at 7:30 to have dinner. And I actually was focused and engaged. I didn't feel like getting up from the table and going watching the fishing channel. And I told him the same thing. I said, it's amazing. We've been wearing it for a week or so. We don't really feel much yet, but that's awesome for you. Right. And but it was, and 2 weeks later, Brittany calls us, and Leanne knows Brittany, and she was crying. I was like, Brittany, what's the matter? She goes, oh, I feel like I got my husband back. Because one of the things this does clinically is it basically, I call it a happy patch. It people with PTSD, and it begins to calm the brain. And so
Anxiety.
And that's what it did for me. So with my 18-man advertising company, I couldn't find good sales reps, and I had to do about 7 figures, over $1 million a year, to just in selling ads in a magazine. And I have 3 magazines. Remember, that's a tough sell because we're in a digital age. We did nothing digital, but God gave me a recipe of how to create success with print alone. And so that wasn't an easy sale to begin with, but we crushed it. And not being able to find good reps and still having team working for me, and it was just a lot of stress. And I'd wake up every morning, in the dark and with fear and anxiety, and God would meet me in His Word, and I'd be praise God, and I'd get after the day, and then be back the next morning. 10 years. And I remember telling Craig, our pastor, I said, Craig, God's got to fix my brain to fix my future, because I can't live like this the rest of my life. This is nuts.
So stressful.
Yeah. And so long and short is 2.5 weeks in, all of a sudden, well, I went through a detox because I didn't know that was going to happen, and it happens with like 1 in 7, 8 people. And I felt like I didn't know if I had COVID or what. I was on the John for the whole weekend. I felt like almost like flu-like symptoms, just felt bad. And then all of a sudden I came to a clearing, and I just felt like a different person. I remember going to an event that we were late to, and if I was late, I would be really bothered. But I remember I wasn't. I was driving with me. It was early morning. We were going to go to Sunshine Skyway Bridge.
Two separate
Two
cars.
separate cars at a time. We're going to stay down where our company's at. And I called her up and said, honey, remember you were kids and you didn't have a care in the world? She says, yeah. I said, that's how I feel right now, and we're late.
Yeah.
And the reality is that never came back.
Yeah.
Like my
thought
stress
that
went
was
from
good.
85% down to about 15%. So my stress now is like this. And I got this gift that I didn't even know existed called living in the present. When I was on vacation, I was never really there. On the cruises, didn't matter because my mind was always thinking back with the company. Just stuff was happening, it was fear. And now when I'm on vacation, I'm there. When I'm with my grandbabies, I'm actually with them, and it's just amazing to be able to be present in your shoes. And then we began to see more and more miracles. So let me go ahead and share with you more about this patch. I'm going to open up this presentation. We're going to dance right through it.
You want me to read it?
No, we can just keep it simple. Thanks, honey. Bear with me real quick. We were just in Napa Valley. We actually did the national recorded presentation. Let's see. Right here. Okay, let's get this through all these real quick here. Come on. Yeah, there's okay. So if you can see the first page here in the presentation, you see, the question is, have you been patched yet? And obviously you haven't yet. And so, except for Leanne. And so that's going to be first step. But once you get past, what's going to happen is your body, particularly your cells, mainly your stem cells, are going to regenerate. They're going to activate and then elevate. Right? It's pretty fascinating. And so we like to give credit where credit is due, and they're going to update this slide because this man here, who is a strong believer, he actually just surpassed 200 patents. And he's got all kinds of accolades as a scientist and inventor. He's like an Elon Musk of health. And he started 20 years ago with the Navy SEALs. And they hired him to figure out a way to keep them awake underneath the water in these specialized submarines for at least, 18 to 36 hours. And God gave him the idea, and because he'll tell you, no one creates, only God creates. And to create a 2-patch system, 2 patches that could be put in the body using light from the body that would activate the fat cells in a way to give them energy, and it worked. That led to the Berkeley swim team finding out about it. That led to Michael Phelps wearing that technology. This technology is Olympic approved. I mean, that's pretty much how safe it is. And so, but then he started creating other patches. And then in 2008, he turned his attention to stem cells. And over a period of 10 years, 80 clinical trials, finally figured this one patch out and got it patented in 2020 during COVID. This X39 patch basically launched all through word of mouth, no advertising. It's all done through relational marketing, and the company shot like a rocket because people were experiencing obviously results like we're talking about. And the first people, when you think about something like this, the first people you call are the people you love and care about the most. And you're not calling them because you want to sell them something. You're calling them because you think you found something, right? And it could change their life. And we have. No one in the world has this technology. This is a patented technology to 2040 as a global patent, United States patent. This company is in 80 countries currently. So we have people that spread to over 33 countries currently from us just sharing it with, starting out. And that's how word of mouth works. And so, but the company was doing about 20 million a year at the time with these other patches. This one launches, well, they did 650 million last year, just in 4 years. They're going to hit $1 billion this year. Almost 90% of that volume is coming from what's happening off this patch worldwide. So, and there is no technology like this on the planet. No one has it. We have the cookie. So there's zero competition. The only competition we have is people think, it sounds too good to be true, or they don't wear it long enough, right? That's life. So here's this patent, and I'll read. I'm going to blow it up if I can on my computer. Let's see here. And it's a 31-page patent, but I love reading the last part of this paragraph here because of all these things it says it's doing based on the clinical trials and studies, but basically it says as a result of elevating this peptide, it's going to activate stem cells. It's going to improve energy. It's going to elevate antioxidants. It's going to reduce inflammation. It's going to manage pain. It's going to improve stamina. It's going to elevate collagen production. It's going to improve wound healing. Now, that's just to name a few things from everything we see with our family and friends and testimonies now over the past 2.5 years. I don't know one thing that could do half of that, right? And so, but really what's doing it is your brain. It's not the patch. And that's the brain, the body's being put in an optimum state of health and repair and restoration through the activation of stem cells. So what's the story? Well, the story is when you and I were in the womb, the very first cell we were was a stem cell. And that cell then morphed into every cell we now are. But by God's design, you and I were giving a reserve of those stem cells throughout the whole body, in our brain, in our bones, in our organs, everywhere throughout the whole body for restoration and repair, because a stem cell can morph into any cell the brain tells it. That's the power of a stem cell. And so, but the thing is, so when you're 8 years old, you break a bone, the brain says, oh, I'll stem cells there basically, and they'll morph into bone, marrow, tissue, ligament, joint, whatever. When you're 80, that doesn't happen. Because by the time you're 30, half of those reserve of stem cells are now going dormant. And the aging process sets in because clinically, the less stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. By the time you're 60, 90% are now basically dormant, but they're there. And until now you can turn them on using light in the body. What do you say? Well, there's a proprietary form of light therapy, phototherapy, not like the sun hitting your body and now internally your body elevates vitamin D. That's phototherapy. No, this is light that's emanating out from your DNA called infrared light. All this emit light. You put infrared goggles on in the dark, you can see everybody. Why? Because everybody's walking around emitting infrared light all day long. Well, basically, this patch, once you put it on, the light in the body, which is the mathematical frequency, is going to basically bounce off this patch. This patch is made of microscopic, basically salts and amino acids, already from organic plants. And they're arrayed in such a way that emits a frequency to connect with the light frequency that then elevates this peptide inside of us. And when that peptide elevates, then the brain says, hey, thank you very much. I'm going to start turning on all your dormant stem cells. It's fascinating. I mean, only God himself could have given this man this insight, right? And so he's coming out with a water machine soon. This is insane that actually has light infused in the water. He explained it to all of us, between thousands of us. We still couldn't figure out. He's talking about he takes mathematical codes from the Bible, and it's fascinating. So, but this patch is a blessing because it's non-transdermal, right? Nothing's going into our body. And there's no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants. It's nothing invasive. I'm not injecting someone else's stem cells, or I'm not pulling the blood out of my body and spinning it and then re-injecting stem cells back in. These are all viable mechanisms. This one, we've had people who've done all that and say this is even better, plus a lot cheaper. So these things you can expect. You can expect increased strength. Like if you do any kind of weightlifting, you're going to 2 weeks, you're going to find yourself doing more, right? And inflammation, anything with the word itis behind it, there's inflammation behind it. Stamina, energy, vitality, mental clarity, we talked about. I had a dentist of mine who used to advertise to me, call me up and said, you're not going to believe this, Ken, when it comes to restored muscle, skeletal condition. We could not put a post in this patient's jaw because it was too brittle. And they came back 8 weeks later and did another scan on them. Now it wasn't brittle. And we put a post in their jaw. And the only thing they did differently is they put this patch on. But we see this frequently now of all kinds of amazing testimonies from teeth. Actually, some teeth regrowing. I mean, that blew my mind. But just my neighbor's gum pockets after 20 years, he goes, I don't know if it's anecdotal, Ken, but I see the same dentist every year and 20 years in. And now he said, oh, my gum pockets filled in. So pretty amazing. But if you think about it, it's logical. What age has been doing, the degradation to the body, now the brain identifies it and it's got a tool to begin healing repair. It's pretty powerful. Skin appearance, my wife does, her face looks definitely, I mean, it looks definitely, it's actually younger in her hair, definitely thicker, longer. So it's pretty amazing.
And sleep, you forgot.
The improvement in sleep. Most of us sleep way better now. And and that's a blessing too. You dream more vividly, you remember your dreams. And if you get up a couple times a night, you still feel more rested when you get up in the morning. It's that kind of thing. A lot of men stop snoring, which their wives really love. All right, which is kind of crazy. So heard a lot about that too. So I can't make any promises. Listen, we make no claims. Like we don't treat any kind of medical ailments. We're just here to share these crazy testimonies with you because it is amazing, and so so we make no claims, and everybody's gonna be different. And so I didn't need my hot flashes, so I was good. Diana needed hers, so it's a little different. But yeah, this woman here on the left, she had an inflamed brain, which means you have inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation just isolated; it's actually throughout the whole body. And so, but in 3 weeks, her brain came to a normal state of balance, and so now she had growing coherence. And we were listening to a neuropsychologist the other night, and I've got this on video, talk about how it takes them months, if not a year, to try to get someone's brain to go from session 1 to session 2. I was completely flabbergasted that this patch did this. And so then thereafter, it sustained itself. You know, in the first few days, we have genes, about 18,000 or so make up who we are, our eye color, our height, and all that. Well, those also reset to a younger state. Resveratrol and red wine got notoriety years ago because that reset 2 genes. This resets 4,000. Like in the next 48 hours, your genes reset to a younger state. 6 weeks, I shared about that. The brain becomes balanced. 3 months, the collagen increases. Talked about that. This is really awesome. All right, #1 killer in America today is heart disease. 2 is cancer. 3 is actually drugs, medications. But your heart will reverse in age every 6 to 8 weeks by about 2 years, depending on your age, for a season of time. And so I had a friend of mine got hit by a car. He belonged to a networking group with us, and he was okay, but they did a full body scan, and he was telling everybody at the networking event, "Oh, I'm gonna have to go back in 12 weeks and have bypass surgery because they discovered I have a stretched aorta. So I'm going to have bypass surgery." Well, he started wearing the patch for pain management, goes back. They did a pre-scan on him, like, "Well, Mitch, we can't explain it to you. You were 35% stretched. Now it's less than 5%. No need for the surgery." And he and I were talking to Dr. Adam Scheimer. He's here in Tampa. He's a world-renowned plastic surgeon. He's been on Dr. Oz. He makes his patients wear this patch 1 month prior to surgery because they heal in days versus weeks, you know. And my friend ran up to him and said, "Hey, this did this for my heart." He goes, "Oh, I can tell you why that it is." "Yeah, doc, please do." Because your DNA is always speaking to your brain, basically, and said, "I made your heart to look like this. Now it looks like that." And the brain says, "Oh, I'll go ahead and fix it." That's exactly almost verbatim what he said. And I thought that was fascinating. A quick side note, I didn't know this, but your DNA is completely completed. Once you at the point of conception, your DNA is done. And I didn't know that either. So it's kind of it made sense to me. So wear the patch 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You can put it anywhere in the body. When they tested it get the patent, they tested it on the C7 behind the neck there, 2 inches below the hairline. Then they also tested it below the belly button, 2 inches. Those are good meridians on the body, apparently. But it can be worn anywhere on the body because there's light throughout the whole body. And it's the brain that's going to be doing the work, not the patch. So all you need is one. You put it on you put it on in the morning. We'd say just put it on next to your toothbrush if you want to. Take it off after dinner. It's 12 hours on, and throw it away. And then do it again the next day. So it's 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Or put an alarm on your phone.
Or Diana puts an alarm on her phone, whatever. And I go by memory, and sometimes I forget. And like, oh, but if you forget to take it off, okay. There's
Oh, for that good hygiene.
yeah, I need 2 patches. That's good. But you know, so if you forget, there's no harm, no foul. It's like therapy. There's no side effects, right? So just start the process over again the next day. And so and the key is you want to drink plenty of water. Of course, you guys are nutritionists. You know that probably 75% of Americans definitely don't drink enough water, nor are they putting electrolytes or trace minerals in it. If you get some Celtic salt, if you put a 1/4 teaspoon and half a gallon, that will give you all the trace minerals and electrolytes you need for the day because the body runs on electricity. And so this is going to optimize the process of healing and repair. And so it's really, really important. And because the body will go into a partial detox mode. Well, the body's detoxing all the time anyways, but it will accelerate it. And you can wear more than 1 patch at a time. You don't need to do that. 1 patch, 1 and done. And so that's kind of how that works. So you can see, the simplicity of this technology. And where's it? That it's just a patch, and I'll explain more about this 30 of them, this little package here that you can wear anywhere in the body. And no one else has this technology in the world, and everybody has stem cells and they're going dormant. And so, but we've also seen things on young children, and like she's now 3.5, but Liliana, so 10 grandbabies, 1 is on the spectrum, level 3, that's the worst, nonverbal, non-focused. And as a granddad, probably one of the greatest parts of my life besides knowing the Lord and my wife is I have my grandbabies. When I round the corner, they see me and they light up, right? And there's nothing better in the entire world than just, run to see you. There's no words for it. Until you have one who doesn't recognize you, even if you held her on your lap and put your hands on her face and try to have her look in your eyes and she doesn't look. Nonverbal, non-communicative, no hug. It's heartbreaking. My son calls me February 10th. Oh, Dad, Liliana's been crying for 4 days straight. I said, that's terrible. Yeah, and her asleep too. I almost cried on that one. I said, well, first thing we're gonna do right now, we're gonna pray in Jesus' name. That's gonna stop. And secondly, you're gonna get this patch on her because I just heard about the most amazing testimony of this 2-year-old from her granddad. And her granddad had an amazing testimony. And the granddad had have a phlebotomy in his blood for 30 years, every month, or else he did a leukemia type of situation. He lost 2 friends over it. Now he's on the patch, his blood's clear, right? So, and I got that, and that was awesome. But he's telling about his granddaughter, who he told me about this testimony that she was born with her brain separated down the middle at birth, but it still could, the body could still function. She could still, cognitively still function, not fully though. And then she had some lesions on the brain, and the doctors wanted to give her a medication that eventually would cause her to go blind. And the parents didn't know what to do. And the granddad said, just put the darn patch on her. They got that patch on her. And within a short order of time, the lesions, boom, they were gone. And then her cognitively just got better. And they showed me a little video for her running around counting to 20, and 3 years of age, just less than, 6-8 months on the patch. And so I said, listen, put this on Liliana. I think works 6 inches up off the body because it's light that far. Just slap it on her clothing on her back. It'll work. And that's what they did. They put on her back, and he called me like a couple hours after that. He says, "You're not gonna believe this, Dad, but she got down off our put the patch on her, and within 5 minutes she was smiling." I said, "Well, we prayed, remember that." But the next day, she's at the therapist, and like, "Hey, what's with Liliana? How is she?" Well, she's focusing, she's tracking, she's following us, right? And it just got better over the last year. And so I said, "Mom," eventually, and now she's greatly improved. She's still on the spectrum. Right. And but now she knows me, she'll give me a hug, right? And these things are gifts. And now anytime we get this patch on any child on the spectrum, the first thing the parents will tell us is, hey, my child's focusing. And my son also, he does detailing of boats and Highline cars, and he helped a gentleman who was on a cane. The guy's probably only 48 years old, but he had an accident and walking with a cane for 4 years. Within a week, the patch cleared that. And then, so he started getting into his kids. They're all teenagers, and one of them's a 14-year-old on the spectrum, hasn't slept. He's up all night, like for years. And I could never imagine being a parent. What the heck's like to have a teenager up all night? It affect my sleep. And well, guess what? Now, just a weekend on the patch, he's sleeping through the night. So, we see these amazing things, and Parkinson's, MS, but just most of our friends are under some kind of stress emotionally. They have some kind of hormonal issues going on, and, and they've got pain from just age and injuries. And of course, you want to nutritionally be balanced. You want to eat right. So I do all these things. I do intermittent fasting. I do CrossFit. I do all these things, but none of those things turn on my dormant stem cells. So it's spectacular. So before I talk any further about how, the patches and how the company rewards those who share it if you want to. And by the way, you'll find yourself being one of 3 people. I usually open up, and I forgot to mention this, when someone sees a presentation, if you're number 3 or someone says, "Hey, Ken, I like what I see. I want to do more research." I was like, "Leanne, I want to do more research," right? So great, whatever you need. Well, we have a link for you to take a look at to help you and go from there. Or 2, "I like what I see. I want to get some pastoring in my family." Fine, we can show you how to do that. Or Ken, number 1, "I like what I see. I want to hit the go button on this rewarding program offered for those who share it, not sell it." I do not come out here selling patches. All right. So that sales is not an easy gig. That's not what we're into. But sharing a movie is easier. So, but that's what you'll find yourself being. And we'll just meet you where you're at. Right. That's, protect everybody's integrity and that peace of mind. And because we all get a new body when we get to heaven. Right. So if you know Jesus. So our whole goal is we want to point everybody to Jesus, and we'll patch everybody who will listen in the meantime. So any questions, ladies, before I just hit quickly this next part of the presentation? Sure, so you can unmute yourself. Sorry if you're muted.
No, I'm good. You can
Everybody good? Okay.
Oh.
All right, so let's dance through this here, and it's our time is 2:51. So let's see if we can run through this. So I love this site here. So this is at info.com. Like I said, we want to help people learn how to pique people's curiosity, get their eyeballs on a Zoom like this, And so usually people want to know more, and we don't want to have to be the expert. You don't want to be the expert. You're busy, stay busy with your day. Just say, hey, I got a link. It has all the clinical data on there. It's got the patents, it's got the studies, it's got some quick videos on there. The first 3 videos, one, how this thing basically just overview on it in 3 minutes. Second one, how light works in the body. Third one, how the founder created the patch. And then you can scroll down and see everything else you want to see. And then there's a testimonial page also that you can see all these amazing testimonies. So this becomes a great referral friend. So then you can quickly, talk for a minute or two, pique someone's curiosity, send this link. And that's what we do during the day. And then I'll share one pass with you. I'll talk about it in a minute. And I just follow up with them. And then here, once again, we talk about the growth of the company. They went from 20 million in COVID. And as a businessman, this baffles my brain. This is actually the only relational marketing company like a Mary Kay and whatever in the world, the only one in the world out of 561 that from COVID had a linear progression of sales. There is not one. And we just, for the second year straight in this industry, just won the Bravo Award. It's the highest achievement award on growth. We have the second year straight. So we're the fast growing momentum company in the world. Our team that we're part of is the fast growing team in the world. We were just 2 people with Steve and Gina Merritt 32 months ago. We're 350,000 people right now. We think we'll have 1 million by year end. There is no team in the world, in any company, any corp that's growing this fast.
And
So-
Netflix is going to do a documentary.
Netflix is going to be a documentary on
them.
the company here later this year. So, and here's Steve and Gina Merritt. They're in black and white here on the left, and this is back in August of 2023. And what happened was, the company had other distributor teams around the world getting the word out on it. And then Steve and Gina Merritt said, hey, we're going to change the formula. We're going to implement a system everybody can follow that's going to create massive growth. And we're not going to talk about all the other patches. We're going to only talk about this one Mac Daddy patch. And we're gonna help people basically learn how to share it. And within short time, their team started explosive growth. Japan was leading the way in global sales. Next, America's leading the way. Now our team constitutes 60% of the X39 patch sales worldwide, and that's 90% of the sales of the company. So it's pretty spectacular, and because we follow a system. And so what happened is, David Schmidt, the founder on the left, and then the president, Merrick Burke, who now has trimmed down quite a bit. They had to come to see what kind of growth is happening. So they had this big event, 1,700 of us under sweltering heat in this big church dome, basically in August. It's tough to have braved out 2 days, but we were so lit and so excited we didn't care, And they came down because they'd never seen anything like this before. They never seen this kind of growth. And so it's been epic. But Steve and Gina Merritt, they implement a system for all of us to follow and to try to hit the highest rank in this business. They did it in 23 days. Usually took 4 years to do. 100 other people now have hit it. My wife and I did it in 11 months. We have a 19-year-old in Bradenton, Florida that's done it, not my team, and 24-year-old. You've got an 81-year-old grandmother in Puerto Rico City. You got a woman named Penny out in Texas in a tiny little town in the Panhandle where there's only 700 people. She hit the highest rank. Never succeeded in anything like this before. And because first of all, we have God's favor. I mean, period. David Schmidt will tell you, who's the founder of the company, I said, no one creates, only God creates. They don't get up before a whole group of distributors worldwide at an event from Asia and wherever else. Say, listen, I'm not a Christian. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. There's a difference. He just wants to let people know that Americans are not all Christians, according to the Bible. And I'm like, man, you alienate a big part of your distributor base. And he's very humble. He gives God the glory. And it's very interesting to hear that come from a scientist inventor. Plus, he cares. When Canada and their weirdness shut down, all these wellness products coming into the border during COVID, all the distributors in Canada could no longer get paid every Tuesday. He said, no, we're going to pay them where they last got paid. They're going to continue to get paid every week until they figure this thing out. And so it's a debt-free company. It's well-oiled machine. They've never been late on getting patches out, which is crazy to think about. They're ahead by at least 10 years on all production. And they're just and then Meredith Burke, she's run big companies over $1 billion before. So it's and they're all believers, which is kind of interesting. They don't really kowtow that, and I more promote because I think it's pretty awesome. And so, and these things here relate to all of us. Is there a word on that page that means more to you? We all came on this for health. So we all know we're looking for better health. And I believe you found it, and it's up to you to believe that. But all these things here, this has checked off for us. I didn't realize that in 11 months we'd hit this highest rank. We saw God's hand bless us with this as I was working my full-time gig. And then, because we say it's God, family, work, and then this opportunity. Keep it in that order always. Be a better employee wherever you work. You know, be a better spouse, better parent, be whatever it is. Be that and be good for God, right? And keep that in order. And but within 22 months, we were making 4 times our income. That put us at 7 figures, which is insane, honestly. And that was about 8 months ago, and it's gone up even higher, 50% higher than that since then. And technically, we don't have to work anymore. Like, we will make more money. Like, we don't have to be on this call to make more money. Like, we just go travel and we're gonna make more money until the Lord changes that, right? And so it's not about that. We have a big vision. We just bought 90 acres in Malawi, Africa. We're big contributors at our church, and we feel called to make money for the kingdom. And so we know that that's for us, that's our mission. That's what we believe. So, but this opportunity is helping so many people take the edge off without having to change their full-time thing or change the most important things in their life. And I love this because inflation is really stinks with my 5 kids because they can't buy the same house. A little 322 house I could have bought 3 years ago down here for 250 grand. Now it's 550, right? So they have a lot more stress. They have less options. You know, they have to be, it's just, and I'm like, hey, share the patch, you know, and see where it goes. So, you know, and this is what's really genius is that this is the business model, really, and just replicate it, right? It's you plus 2 friends on your left and 2 friends on your right. And I'll talk about what you purchase and what they purchase in a second. But think about this. This is profound. Because of this patch, you know, like say you was me and my wife, that was us, we're you, right, on this thing. We called our family and friends because we wanted them, we believed that we found some hope. And so it didn't take much to get 4 of them, like real fast, you know, on the patches, you know, buy a 3-month supply. And I'll show you that in a minute. It's less than $3 a day, you know, and, you know, and that was, so it was easy to accomplish this first position. Well, this opens you up, not right then, but to hit $1,500, there's a cap of $1,500 a week on residual income. It's called team commission. That goes to $25,000 a week, which is a crazy number. We actually make more than that, which is crazy to think about. And I have 3 people on my team make more than I do. And I'm like, what? And so because of this, because people calling their family and friends because they love them and care about them, and they have a simple way, if they so desire, they don't have to, they can just wear the patches. But if they want to tap into our team and maybe get access to the financial reward that's being offered, you know, there's no guarantees, no promises. Well, here's how it starts. You know, who are the 4 people you love and care about in your life that you know need to be on this patch? Call them up, you know, give them a look at this, or just send them a sign-up form and say, I'm going to sign up some patches, and I'll show you the form in a second here. And so this goes to 25,000 a week, which is a big number. I needed to hear this number. For me as a businessman, I needed that. So there are people out there who actually, that's an important number for them. For a lot of people, it may be overwhelming. It doesn't matter. But if a 19-year-old kid is doing pretty darn good, I don't think he's making 25 grand a week, but he's the highest rank in the company. Now he has access to that. A 24-year-old kid I know who does make more than that, you know, out of college, that's not normal. So, and this is the unlimited income potential. This is where we make most of our income currently, about 2/3 of it. And the company wants to reward you and me for enrolling people who are actually sharing this and it's growing. So we enrolled Leanne. Say Leanne starts making some money. Well, we're going to go, you want to go ahead and get that, honey? You know, say Leanne, blue sky, she starts making 25 grand a week. Well, we're going to get $6,250 a week. I actually have one of my team members doing that, right? And so it's just crazy. And then Leanne has somebody, and I'll just back it down for some really realistic numbers. So say 1,000 a week, there's 250. And then so maybe then Leanne, you know, she enrolls Beth, right? And then Beth, well, that's that's my second generation. So Leanne is my first, Beth would be my second. And then say Beth enrolls Megan, right? I mean, say Beth enrolls Megan, right? Boom, boom, boom. Well, that'd be my 3rd generation, right? So that's 25%, 20%, 20%. On top of whatever you all are doing, right? So, and it doesn't matter how many people you enroll. So technically it's really unlimited. So, and this is 7 figures for us just in this alone. And because what happens, word of mouth compounds if God's favors on it. And and as I own an advertising company. So and this is why I got so excited, because we were 90 days in on this thing, and I had enrolled about 60 people. I was still working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, but I'd have conversations with my clients and my prospects on the way out. Oh, by the way, you know what this is, right? No, what is it? Well, this is what it is. This was done for my family. Would you like to learn more about for you? Well, there's a great Zoom going on. I'll send you a link. And here's another link also. And I'll follow up with you. Or I give them a patch, one patch. And I just started doing that. And then 60 people later, my wife and I, 90 days in, go on a cruise to Hawaii, 5 on-ons, and down to Bora Bora, 4 days, right? We're away from everything for 2 weeks. And we came back $2,500 richer. I'm like, hold on a second. I did not put my foot on the gas. That's the first time in my life that, because we had been reinvesting our money all back in the company. So we didn't have any outside investments to know what passive income was. And it was the first time in my life that actually I had money coming to me that I didn't have to go put my foot in the gas to make. So we were on the beach in Bora Bora. We actually were making money. And I came back and I called my kids, said, you guys better be sharing this patch, because you need the gift. It's bigger than the money. It's called time. Because I just got my time bought for me. I said, you need that gift with your marriages and your kids and all that. You're going to need the time, because you can only work so many hours in a week to make so much. But if you have the additional efforts of others throwing money down on top of that, you know, then you're going to want it. And so, and a couple of our kids have been blessed, you know, and so that's what got me excited about this. And, you know, and then being part of a team, you know, it made him better. So here's how this works. Right? And so you can come in for $25. It's not on the screen here, and just get the patches at a wholesale rate of $99. So of a month's supply. So this right here is an envelope of 30 patches. Inside is what they call a sleeve, right? This sleeve has 30 patches inside of it. And this is good till, I can't, let's see if I can see this here, like 26, September 26th. You know, it's a long time from now, like almost 2 years, or a year and a half from now. And, but it's a 30-day supply. So you open this thing up, this opens up here, and inside are 30 patches. So you just pull one of these things out, you know, peel the sticker back and put it on you where you want. 5 seconds, right? No burpees, you know, so I love it. I didn't take any supplements. And I don't know if Leanne shared with you, but there's Dr. Jenna Sullivan. She shares about her 12-month journey on this. She's a naturopathy on this patch, and it cleared $400 a month in supplements for her hormones, which is pretty amazing. So 30-day supply, retail rate's only $149, wholesale is $99. I told my family and friends, if you're going to try it, you're going to want to try it at the wholesale rate. You could, for just $25, get a membership, and just for $99 each month, just have this coming to you. But then, you know, if you're married, you know, you don't want your spouse suffering. And so, and the real power in this opportunity doesn't happen in just getting something for yourself. If you need to for you, we get it. But really happens is when you have these 3 other packs here that you're looking at. And so, let me bear with me 1 second. I'll lock my screen on here in my video. Okay, hold on. Sorry, ladies. Okay. So there's a 3-pack, a 6-pack, and a 20-pack, left or right. A core, advanced premium. That's 3 of these, 6 of these, 20 of these. Now, my wife and I, we saw the opportunity to be able to, because I want to get this on as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. So I bought a 20-pack, and that kind of launched us. And we weren't really thinking so much about the business at the time. We were thinking about just seeing what this could do for our family and friends. And they recommend that you should wear this 1 month for every 10 years of life. So I want to make sure I had enough for me and my wife, and then we had enough to be able to start sharing. Now, I wasn't mailing a whole one of these out to family and friends. I would break it open and mail 3, 4, 5 patches. You know, I figured something was going to happen if I mailed enough of them to everybody. And that's what we started doing. But what we also found is when our friends would enroll, like the first night we found out about this, we called our friends over, they came over and they bought a 20-pack also and said, okay, I had a friend front me some patches. So I was able to front them one, but once I had my 20-pack in, I had extra of these. And what we do is, like a few months back, we signed up a couple at church, after church, and I went back to the car. And I said, hey, because they bought a 20-pack, I said, listen, it's going to be 5 days before you even get yours in the mailbox, probably. And I want to give you the opportunity to get on these now. So I'm going to front you a whole sleeve of these. And then you can start wearing them tonight, wear them now. And then when you get yours back, just keep the one I fronted you and give me the new one back. And so it's called Place and Replace. And I remember Joe and his wife, May, they called me the next day and said, Ken, we slept through the night. We haven't slept the night in years. And that's pretty awesome. And then 3 days later, Joe calls me, Ken, I've seen 4 chiropractors in 10 years and none of them help me feel this good. And now they're all excited calling their family and friends about the patches. They still hadn't had those in the mailbox yet. So it was awesome to be able to put people in the option potentially of getting miracles sooner. And I'll tell you this, 90 days is the de facto standard that I tell everybody to wear the patch. Why is that? Because 97% of those who wear the patch worldwide see results in that time frame. And think about it. In 90 days, the collagen in your body is going to refresh. You have more collagen in your bones than you do calcium, largest protein in the body. And there isn't anything clinically on the planet that can actually elevate more collagen in your body than actually this patch. We didn't even talk about that, but that's going to happen. All right. And then in 8 weeks, your cardiovascular is getting younger, right? In 4 to 6 weeks, the left and right lobe of your brain are balancing. And then fourthly, the anomalies of joint pain, back pain, injuries, they begin to dissipate away in that 9-day time frame. Now, 1 in 5 people are called one patch wonder. So like I went to an event, 2 events yesterday, and I passed like 14 people. And one of them, I talked to him this morning, and he had a botched knee surgery, right? And he said ever since then, it clicks and it's hard and it's stiff and all this stuff. And the doctors don't want to do it again because it could get worse. So he calls me in the morning and says, Ken, I almost jumped out of bed this morning and I almost scurried real quickly to the bathroom. And I stopped myself. I said, oh my gosh, what did I just do? He was completely baffled that he didn't have his knee pain. And that's a one patch wonder. And we see these things, you know, and so I tell family and friends, listen, this is not an aspirin. This is stem cell reactivation. All right. This is your body beginning to heal itself in ways that no one knows. My dad was 200, so I'll give you an example. The brain works in a triage mode, and just, wrap this up here. It's going to work on the most important thing first. And you and I don't know what that is. So my dad at the time was 280 pounds, 1 kidney, 12 medications, gets COVID. He's on his way out. And I said, Dad, this helped my friend with her purple legs and with neuropathy in 1 week. Maybe it'll help your purple legs too. Puts the patch on. 2 weeks in, I don't feel nothing. My legs are still purple. 3 weeks in, I don't feel nothing. 5 weeks in, I'm a believer. Buy me a plane ticket to go see Brittany in Louisiana. I'm like, I'm not buying you anything, Dad. You can't walk 20 feet with your walker. Because once he got COVID, his lungs got scarred. And now he needed a walker because he couldn't get enough oxygen in his system during the day. And he's always like this. And to get up and walk 20 feet was crazy. Now here he is 5 weeks and call me. I thought he was delirious. Buy me a plane ticket, go see Brittany in Louisiana. I'm like, I'm not buying you anything. Click. 6 weeks later, he's in an Uber to Tampa International Airport from here in Tampa. Spends a week out to see Brittany and the great grandbabies. His lungs restored. That blew my mind. Now, a month later, his legs got good. We're like, yeah, look at Poppy's legs, And then his sleep got really good. So the brain began to work on what was most important. Obviously, breathing is more important than walking. That's my uneducated opinion, And but we've seen this with people that all of a sudden one day they'll wake up and boom, like I was listening to a friend today, Brittany Francis, her and her husband. He's an auto dealer. They've never been in this business before. They had the highest rank in 8 months in this business. And for every day she monitored, because we have these sheets that you can monitor these details of your sleep and everything else, and you can go by first day, week, months, what have you, and monitor everything. Just take a peek at what's happening. And she was monitoring every day, and she felt really bad. And by day 45, she went to the doctor, and he said, why are you doubling up on your Synthroid, or what do they call it? It's a medication for her. And she says, I'm not. And he says, really? Because your body's acting if you're on double the dose. I'm taking you off of it because the body was healing it. And now she's off thyroid medication. We have other friends that we know that are no longer on thyroid medication. I had a friend had all these nodes in her neck, no longer had them. And so, yeah. So it's just, if you're thinking about people you love and care about, we encourage people, buy the biggest patch you can, get it on as soon as you can, and watch what happens. And if that's too much, that's understandable. You can buy a 6-pack for $535. It's $89 each, right? And at a worst case, that gives you and your spouse a 90-day run each. And so at a very cheap rate, cheaper than 99. And if you want to, kick the tires and sample it, don't tell your spouse, whatever, but you can, buy the 3-pack, and get it down less than $99. All these ways that $25 membership. So these are the 3 cheapest ways to get the product. Now, and when it comes to building, quote, the business, a 2-sleeve monthly maintenance, one for me, one for my wife. That is my overhead. Because these kits, this Core Advanced Premium, you can only buy this one time. You can't do that again. That does not repeat. All right. So thereafter, the commitment, if one's going to build the business, is two of these, one for you and one for your spouse. Well, I'm going to do that whether I'm building a business or not. And I'm thinking, all the employees I had, all the overhead I had, my massive printing bills I had, I got none of that to make 7 figures a year on $199 a month. As a businessman, that is amazing. Now, if you stay on one of these a month as you're trying it, what it does, it holds the volume of what's happening underneath your team. Because I show you that picture of 2 left, 2 right, where you're going to put on one of those teams. Well, that means there's people above you, not as a pyramid. Pyramids are illegal, right? But it's just how the computer tracks it. And the next person who comes in is going to go below you. So anybody above you is going to be putting people below you. So you're going to have a left or right team, whatever side you're put on, is going to go faster. One team's going to go faster than the other. That's because all this volume's happening underneath you. As long as you have one of these, it holds the volume, which eventually will release to dollars once you get on a 2-sleep monthly maintenance, should you decide to do so. And so, but if you're not, then all that team volume flushes before that's worth. So, and, so it's that simple. It's just, it's just, where do you see yourself? If this is something, are you a 3, like, hey, I want to do more research, or I'm a 2, I want to get some patches, whatsoever do you think? And are you thinking about, because most people start thinking about the people they love and care about. They start thinking about, like, when they're seeing this presentation, they're thinking about their mom, their best friend, themselves, their husband, their kids. They're thinking about it. And like, okay, I need to get these patches on, or they say, yeah, I want to get some patches, but hey, if it's simple as starting 4 and that could start it, and then we replicate that 4 play, if you will. And just that alone can take me all the way through the ranks of how the business, and I can plug into a team, and I'd like to learn more about that too. So you just decide what you are. And then we have a team called This Is a Team. And that's what we're part of, like, McDonald's franchises, they have a franchise system that teenagers run. And well, This Is a Team's kind of the franchise, a lot easier. And then twice a year, we have these amazing events. And we went from 1,000 a week to 1,000 a day based on an event like this. We had 60 people come to an event like this. And what this is not a rah-rah system involved. This is like your belief goes deeper and your conviction gets bigger. And your desire to want to help more people gets better, and you come out of this, want to call your people you weren't want to call, now you want to call them. And then if you have 10 other friends come with you that are on your team, well, guess what? Your whole volume goes up. And that's what we saw. We saw amazing things occur after that. And, and it's the smartest way to build this business is to go to an event that actually is a blast, be around people that actually have integrity and care about people, and they're excited, and then get real insight and belief, and come back and take that to the world. It's just, it's amazing to see what happens, and that's Stephen, Gina, Merritt, and they have events going. We have an On-the-Go podcast. We have this goal that hit 1 million people this year. We have a school platform, SKOL. For This Is a Team, there's a team Facebook, there's a team YouTube, there's a team, school, SKOL. So we've got all that. And then I actually have a Believers for Life team underneath that umbrella that we use, that we connect with. So I can go help everybody win very quickly. And I can tell you about that later. But, so and we have Zooms that go on almost every night of the week. Monday night, there's 2 of them. Tuesday, there's 2. I do one on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, there's a couple. Thursday, Spanish. Friday, there's always at least one noon Zoom going on for 30 minutes. So during the weekdays. And then there was training that goes on from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. And it's amazing just what happens, just watching a Zoom, how your whole belief can change. It's so fascinating how simple it is to fuel belief. And this whole thing works on belief. Belief is what moves the patches. The patches don't move themselves. And so, so that in short is, how one can get started if they want to get started. And it's very simple. We have these sign-up forms, and we have a link, but it's actually faster. And I'll carry these with me. It's the same sign-up form you're looking at. And I'll just ask them, okay, what do you want? And just click it off and put the name, address, phone number, credit card number, and say, okay, I'll key it in after, and then you'll get a link. And then that gets them on their way. It's the fastest way to place orders, and a link gets hiccupy. And so, plus you want to be with people, also maybe answer some questions at the time. So it's basically old school is new school. So that, ladies, is kind of the presentation. I appreciate your patience. I get a little excited maybe. So I just want to make sure that I've hopefully given you some meaningful insights on, on what you need to see to best decide on, what more you may or may not want to do, and so is there any questions that I could answer for you? because I do talk fast and, you know, just want to be clear. Just
So
got-
thank you for the presentation. That was
Yeah,
very
Jen.
informative. I'm just curious, is this something that's you take for the rest of your life, kind of every day? Is this like an immediate, like, how does it work long
Great.
term?
That's a great question. So it is something that you don't have to take it the rest of your life, but I'm going to. You know what I'm saying? So just like I'll do intermittent fasting, I'll do CrossFit, I'm going to dial my diet in, I'll continue to do those things. I want my stem cells. I don't want the natural aging process to continue to kick my butt. You know what I'm saying? And so yes, the answer is it's up to you. If you want, you continue to wear it. And until something better comes along that can do the same thing.
Okay. And I think all of it's great. I personally would love to try it first,
Mhm.
see how that goes over the course of a month,
Mhm.
and then determine, okay, do I want to move forward from there?
Right.
Because relationship marketing always is like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm a former sales rep. I now just have to take not just, but manage the households and the 4 kids and all of that. But so, when I really believe in something and know that it works, I love sharing that with friends and family. I've already thought of people, but I want to be able to see that firsthand.
Well, exactly. So, there's two types of people. I was the odd man out. I'm the other type. You're part of a lot of people need to see it first to believe it before they'll share it. But the key word is believe. So I was the odd man out. I actually believed it before I wore it. So that's why I was able to just jump in and just mail these things out to my family and friends. Just stick this on you, tell what happens. And that fortunately that worked. And so I do try to encourage people, if you don't have to wait to believe it, then do share it, because those people didn't have to wait for you, but it's okay if they do, because God's on the throne. And the key is your own integrity. That's everything, because this whole business is built on trust and it's built on love, right? It's not built on a rush. It's built on you believe it and you want, and then from there, it's easier for you then to say, okay, listen, this was done for me. This might be able to do something for you. You want to take a look? Let's jump on a Zoom, and we'll tell you more. Jump on a Zoom. They'll tell you about it, So but I would say, Jen, is that because we've seen like our friend with their thyroid, it was day 45, right? So we say 97% worldwide see results it doesn't take 90 days, but 97% statistically are going to kind of get what I call their miracle sometime in that time frame. Most of my friends within several days to several weeks, my dad was 5 weeks. So but that 90 days is a really kind of an important runway. And it's also the cheapest way to get the product, for a 90-day period, that is. And if you can afford $295 plus shipping and tax, now you've got your 9-day supply, right? And now you can now kind of give yourself the best step forward, for yourself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would be my suggestion.
If you're wondering what I did, I was like, I took a couple weeks to, I was like, what's Ken selling me? That's what I thought initially. And I was like,
I hate that, by the way, because
I know.
I
was
love
like,
people.
what
I'm
are we
not here to
meeting
sell.
for Ken? What are we meeting with Ken about? What is he trying to sell me? And then because Mike, met with Ken, and as Ken said, he gets super excited about all this. And Mike's thing, he's like, but what if this could heal your Raynaud's? That was what Mike kept thinking of. If you don't know what that is, that's like a circulation problem, and my fingers go numb and I can't feel them and it's miserable. And I live in Florida. Every doctor I've ever talked to, they're like, well, just live somewhere warm. I'm like, I do, like whatever. So the what ifs, the hope, the belief, and I have other things too. I have Hashimoto's and low thyroid and high antibodies, blah, 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 blah. So, but that would be like the thing, and so just doing a lot of research, and I did send the testimony he's talking about, the doctor, like a doctor gave his 12-month or her 12-month journey, and it was just crazy. I'm like, oh yeah, I actually have that symptom too. Maybe that would be a result. I'm like, like the big thing is it's not invasive. I'm like, well, it's not gonna hurt me. And I'm like, I'm willing to for sure try this. All these other people are having these miraculous like testimonies. Like, I want to be one of those people. And so I did lots of research, and when we were up north and just listened to the testimonies, I called him. I was like, all right, I don't understand half of what you're telling me. Just tell me what's the best deal and the best option right now. So of those three options, I picked the middle one because I can always like pay the difference, I guess, for the bigger one. If I want to just like start what he's saying, like swap a pack to get a pack, to always have some on hand to be able to share the good news or whatever. And anyway, so that's where we're at. Like, again, I'm like 3 days into wearing it. And my son, so Mike opted to not wear it yet so that Karsten could wear it because he's been battling a hip injury for like 4 or 5 months. And it's just been super frustrating for him, his healing process. And he wants to play football. He's going into his senior year. And, it just breaks our hearts for him to have to go through this. But it's been good for him, hard for us too. Anyway, so we're like, hey, if this accentuates his healing, we're all for it. So that's where we're at. We're early in this journey, but I've made a list of all my ailments. All my things, and I'm making a little note. Like I've been having, like, I think I mentioned this to Beth the other day, like just very, very tight, sore hamstring forever, like not forever, a long time, many, many weeks. And I just like always was very aware of it. And then I was just trying to think through, I wonder when I'll feel anything different, just this miraculous, like Ken was saying, like I didn't feel anything ever. And I was like, and then I was doing a stretch and I was like, oh, I don't feel my hamstring anymore. That's weird. Is it weird or is it patch? Anyway, that's where I'm at. That's my journey. Again, like I love that it's like just using what our bodies are, what God created. So that's where I'm at.
Hi,
Hi, Keisha.
Hi. Sorry I couldn't show myself. I had my adult kids here and they are loud. They don't, so I just have a question. So you may have mentioned this in the first 5 or so minutes I wasn't on, but I wanted to know what is the active ingredient in the patch and what is the testing on that 12 hours? So is it just something that again wears off after a certain time, and that's the reason that we would have to then reapply the next day, or it's not actually repairing cells, but the stem cells are maybe just boosting or slowing down the degeneration of those cells. How is that all tying into that time frame?
All right. So first part of the question there is that the product is made of organic material. So the heat in the body eventually is going to degrade it. So eventually the patch will become less and less effective. So nothing obviously is transdermally going into the body because it's using the light from inside the body to bounce off and reflect off this patch, which is made of organic, what do you call it? It's it said salt and the word just escapes me, but anyways, so, and it's just organic. So, and they're arrayed in such a way to create a frequency that goes back. When that happens, the heat and all that actually in the light elevates this peptide called a GHK2 copper peptide. You can see on the site. And when that happens, the brain recognizes that peptide and starts reactivating our dormant stem cells. And so now the stem cells can begin to create new tissue, whatever's needed, restoration, and do a whole lot more that's inside the patent that you may have missed it earlier, that from all the 80 clinical trials and studies that were done over 10 years to go inside the patent. So this is a proven patented technology, and then under the FDA, it's defined as a wellness patch. All right. So which means there's no side effects.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So the only time you can't wear this patch is if you're on chemotherapy, not radiation chemotherapy, because chemotherapy is looking for the most active cells, and those are cancer cells, and you start turning on your dormant stem cells. Now you got 2 active cells going on. So, but you can, when you're not actually actively going through like the next day, put the patch on, just on the times you're being administered chemo, don't get on it. Now, but my mother-in-law, just a side note, 94 years old, they want to put her in hospice because she had throat cancer. And we, as a family, said, no, give her isolated radiation. They stuck her with isolated radiation, and we put the patch on her. And an oncology nurse at 20 years said, I've never seen this before. No swelling, no burn marks. Plus her hair started growing back really thick and fast, and her beautician, like Lorraine, is 94 years old. And but anyways, so just chemotherapy is the only time you wouldn't want to wear the patch. You know, so
Excuse me, Ken. I apologize. I
yeah,
have someone here and I
yeah,
have to
Megan.
go, but I would love to maybe, I guess I'll follow up with Leanne.
Yeah,
Did you record this, Leanne?
yes, this is recorded. Yes.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
I'll have access to that, and I just would love for my husband to see it. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sorry I have to hop.
Yeah, that's
But
fine. Yeah.
Appreciate everybody's time.
Yeah. Great meeting you, Megan.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for answering that question. That meant a lot to hear that. Thank you.
Absolutely, Keisha. Yeah. Is there anything in particular you're looking for, Keisha?
I mean, you hit all the top things. I mean, I am, as Leanne mentioned, I'm extremely into working out, bodybuilding. So definitely heavy weight training for my
Yeah.
competition. So I'm natural, and I plan to stay that way. So
Yeah.
I'm always looking for, and I was sharing with Leanne, I said the timing of this is actually appropriate because I've been hearing, as we all probably have been hearing, about the stem cell, the peptides. So I've been more gravitating to that research and have been looking into different things of, the injections and all that can be very expensive and time consuming that I didn't want to get into. So this is definitely intriguing to me, that something simple as a patch you can put on and forget about it, and just improve, the overall well-being, and maybe improve some extra strength for some PRs in the gym wouldn't hurt.
It will. Yeah, we had a friend in 2 weeks. Well, she's younger, she's 25, but she PR'd everything. Her back squat, her bench press, everything. She PR'd in 2 weeks.
Oh
That's
my
pretty
God.
crazy. Yeah.
Well, sounds really tempting. So
Yeah.
yeah, then I have I can speak freely now because my adult kids have left, but I have a 26-year-old and a 28-year-old that definitely concerned about some health issues that I'm kind of sensing just as a professional. My daughter with some weight issues and things like that, and then I can just tell, maybe some insulin issues with spikes and things that I'm witnessing with her based on some information. And my son, who does suffer from the time he was little, with some mental health issues, severe depression, anxiety, and of course he's on medication, but you know how that is. They feel good now that he's an adult. He doesn't always want to take it. So we kind of ride that little roller coaster for a while. So him himself is going through his NASM certification, and he's leaning into more naturopathic ways to heal his brain, heal his body. Super proud of him. He's lost over 60 pounds, and that motivated him to, get into the health and fitness journey. So this can be very powerful. And I'm going to share the recording with him as well, because I think it'll be a benefit for him.
Yeah, and we have a lot of recordings, like little short ones. Like I have like 3 young athletes, like one who he had like only like 8 or 9% body fat, and just on the patch alone, he went down to like 4. And he's already an elite athlete. I thought that was kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
But and just all those who had bad injuries, and all of a sudden now they don't,
Yeah.
And one is 18 years old, he had asthma forever, and now his lungs are good. So, but man, I call it a happy patch. So it will definitely, if they wear it, like I said, 90 days is really the minimum you really want to give this a runway on. And
yeah, I might get one to just, hey, hon, and place it in the center of his back, and he'll never see it. Call it a sneak.
Oh my gosh.
Back.
That's funny, Keisha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken. Well, I know that everyone has been on for a while.
Yeah, I know.
What's the next step? Do I just put them all in contact with you?
Yeah, so it's really easy. You just say, hey, which way you want to go. We can place a quick order. It all goes under Leanne, right? And so she becomes your sponsor. And then now you've got an order placed. You're going to have patches mailed to your door. Now you can get the miracle on you and get started, and just kind of set it and forget it, and then let it speak to you as it begins to get to do that.
So I just share your phone number with them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can text them my phone number, me and Diana, And
And
I'll be
then,
happy to.
yeah, I'm kind of the same. Since we recorded this, it'd be great to share it. I know Megan has hopped off, but her dad, my father-in-law, is suffering from Parkinson's. So, I'm sure her brain was, going into different things. And so, my daughter-in-law just had surgery for severe endometriosis. So, things are popping up in terms of, and our
Yeah.
older son, her husband, our son, for years he was on ADHD medication. He wasn't severe, but he finally went off of it because he likes to work out and appetite, but he's managing it. But maybe if there's something that could give him more clarity and focus, but naturally, and also
Yeah,
help
absolutely.
him as he's, he likes to run and lift and all those things. So again, my brain is working with, but yeah, just share it. Just, I don't know if you'll do it through Leanne or the video, and then or the recording. And
Well,
then,
if you text me your numbers and you give me kind of the things you're looking for, also, I can quickly find, and
That'd be
I
great.
can do it in a group text. I can quickly find like quick video testimonies that
for
can
those
speak
specific things,
specifically,
that would be really helpful so that we
Yeah.
could kind of hone in and go, this is something we're dealing with, and this is somebody that experienced benefit. That would be really helpful. So yeah, I mean, Leanne, I don't know, you want to text him our cell phone numbers or whatever, and
Should we put
or
it
is it-
in the chat
There's my
here?
number. There's my number there. The
So I
277.
just put Ken's phone number in the chat for the Zoom,
Okay.
but I'll text y'all.
Mhm.
I'll text y'all, like some of the websites and some of the testimonials that he sent me. And then y'all can put, this information, and you can just look at it, and you can share it with your spouse, of course. And yeah, and then just reach back out to him, if you want to get anything.
and what's your number? It disappeared for some reason.
It's 727 area code. So 727 area code.
Oh.
Then 277
Okay,
4886.
got it. Okay, Leanne put it up there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Yeah. And, obviously I'm an excitable guy, so I always see things as bright. I'm like, okay, I want to be able to help you all believe this, so then you can share it, because what you're going to receive in blessings from the lives changed and the people you love and care about there's nothing better.
Yeah, and then will you share, send me the link, Ken, of this video recording?
Yeah.
And I'll just send out your phone number, the link to this, and then
Sure.
the testimonial video that I listened to, and then people can follow up with you.
And remember, my wife and I, we did a 25-minute version of this last week. So because this went kind of long.
Is that the one you sent me the other day?
I sent you the 10-minute with Dr. Jen, and I may have sent you my wife and I. I'll have to. I think I sent you another one that's a 10-minute one of just how, they say, hey, listen, last 5 minutes of how to order. No, I don't think I sent you that one, but I'll send you that. So my wife and I, in 25 minutes, we go right through the whole thing.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
be great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you guys for joining
Yes.
and taking your
Thank you,
Saturday. And
everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
you're welcome.
Nice seeing you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.